Oh my God, I got some breaking news. Former unified champion Teofimo Lopez reveals that this is his final fight with ESPN. But even more shocking, Teofimo says if ESPN wants the blacks, then they can keep them. Roll the clip.
This is my last fight on ESPN.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This is why this fight means everything to me. If they want the black fighters, they could keep them. I brought Bud Light to Top Rank. If they want the black fighters, they could keep them.
What do you mean by that?
What exactly did you mean by that? What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. That was former unified champion Teofimo Lopez, and I guess he had to get some things off of his chest. Shocking revelations. Now, I'm gonna jump right into the mix. That was a brand new interview that Teofimo did with Punch Drunk Boxing, and he spoke his mind. He revealed that that was his final fight, or the Josh Taylor fight is to be his final fight, I guess with Top Rank and ESPN, and he let it be known. He said, sorry, not sorry. Now, the part that really caught my attention and caught my ear is the part where Teofimo says, if they want the blacks, they can keep them. What exactly do you mean by that? So to me, it sounds like Teofimo Lopez is insanely jealous of the treatment that black fighters maybe have gotten on the ESPN telecast and broadcast. I don't know what he was thinking when he said that, but I do know that comment probably is not going to go over well. What do you mean if they want the blacks, they can keep them? You know, that really sounds like a racial comment. And Teofimo, I think, will regret saying that, those choice of words, and really framing it like that. So I'm trying to understand where this rant is even coming from and why he would be comfortable saying that. Now, let's talk about Top Rank, ESPN, and quote unquote, the blacks. The black fighters that have been on Top Rank, that have got a lot of shine recently, Devin Haney, who is undisputed, something that Teofimo wishes he actually was, and he did it by beating the guy that beat Teofimo. So now we could see things take form and start to take shape as to why Teofimo would possibly make such a bizarre comment, right? Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko, bravo. I thought he won. I picked him before the fight to win, and he did just that. Lomachenko had a high level of praise, and everybody was on Teofimo's side and giving credit for the Lomachenko performance. Even when Lomachenko came out and said that he was injured and he entered the fight pre-injured and stuff, I didn't buy it, because you signed on the dotted line, just like Ryan Garcia. People are saying he was injured in sparring and things like that. You sign on the dotted line, you don't postpone the fight. You sign up, you pass all the medicals and commission screenings and fighter week, fighter meeting, you don't mention none of this, then you can't cry over spilled milk when you lose. So I made no excuses for Lomachenko losing. I thought he lost fair and square to Teofimo Lopez. But his very first title defense, Teofimo Lopez, ends up getting surprisingly beat by George Kambosos Jr. after much delay. Now, there's a lot more that went into that, and for the sake of this video and the time, I don't want to go into it. But between that time of Lomachenko and the Kambosos fight, there was a lot of drama. Teofimo said he got the Rona. Teofimo says he was fighting on Triller, and months passed. Then they said he wasn't selling any tickets. The fight was initially supposed to happen in Miami, Florida, or in Florida, and Floyd Mayweather announced he's fighting Logan Paul. Then they canceled it. Teofimo allegedly had Rona, but then he was with his then wife in Italy, just all kinds of stuff like that, right? And needless to say, the Triller fight did not pan out. So the default bidder was DAZN. So he ended up fighting Kambosos off network still, because the third bidder was his own people, ESPN and Top Rank. So when Triller defaulted, they were the highest bidder, an amount of money that he never got because they defaulted. It then went to the second bidder, the second highest bidder, which was Eddie Hearn and DAZN. So Teofimo fought off network, and he ends up losing to George Kambosos, who was coming off of two rocky performances against Mickey Bay and Lee Selby, where he barely won, and he won by split decision. That night, George Kambosos did his thing and defeated Teofimo Lopez. And I don't think Teofimo's whole career has not really recovered since that moment, since he lost to Kambosos. His career has been off-centered, knocked off its pivot, knocked off its axis. And Teofimo was left doing kind of what Lomachenko and Pacquiao, Ryan Garcia, and other people who have lost their big fights have done. Claim injury, claim he was sick. Bob Arum did a bunch of interviews saying Teofimo fought near death and his esophagus blew up, things like that. So I don't understand this energy from Teofimo and this angst. You're responsible for how your career has played out, both in preparation and in losing and deciding to go off network and say, he said at one point he's going to war with Top Rank, different things like that. And now he sounds like resentful that Top Rank, I guess, is prioritizing quote unquote the blacks. But that doesn't make sense because the quote unquote blacks, they did a card recently with Shakur Stevenson, who's black. They did a card on that card against Yoshido, or whatever that guy's name was. Keyshawn Davis was there, and Jared Anderson, a heavyweight, was on that card. So is that what Teofimo means by the blacks? Of course, they're all talented fighters. Some people think Jared Anderson, Big Baby Anderson, is next up at heavyweight. Keyshawn Davis and Shakur are both Olympic silver medalists with a high ring IQ and skill set. Shakur Stevenson doesn't get hit much. He's the leader of a lot of statistical categories with CompuBox and things like that. So why would Top Rank or ESPN not prioritize them and their skills when they continue to find a way to win? Shakur undefeated, Keyshawn undefeated, Jared Anderson undefeated. So it's like, what is he talking about? Devin Haney, another person, and I think that this was aimed at. He continues to win. Teofimo sounds completely deluded and out of touch with reality. He also said in this interview that he wasn't knocked down versus George Kambosos in the first round. He claims he, quote, slipped. Roll the clip.
It's because at the fighters meeting, I dissed Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley in front of ESPN production and all of them for all their affiliation and corruption that they do. Yeah. What happened? I put more weight on my back, and all they was talking about right away when I slipped in the first knockdown they called, I slipped. They called it right away. What did Bradley say? He hurt.
So that was, again, Teofimo Lopez in this interview. And it sounds like he has an issue with more blacks. Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley. He feels he wasn't given a fair shake. In his mind, he believes he slipped and wasn't knocked down by George Kambosos, even though there's this thing called video cameras and it's all viewable. But somehow, some way, he believes he didn't get knocked down versus Kambosos and he slipped. This just sounds ridiculous. He fought like a maniac in the first round. He was so hell-bent on trying to make good on his promise of knocking out Kambosos and sending him to the gulag in the shadow realm that he fought like a maniac, and it didn't play out, and it got countered, and he got dropped. I don't know where any of this is coming from Teofimo, but I will say it all looks very bad. Let me know what you guys think. Teofimo saying it's his last fight on ESPN. And that's the other thing. You're in a dangerous fight with Josh Taylor, and you're talking bad about Top Rank. You're talking bad about ESPN and commentary. You're making weird and peculiar, bizarre comments about the quote-unquote blacks. Good luck to you in your next fight, because that will be on ESPN, and the same blacks, Andre Ward and Tim Bradley, will likely be commentating on the fight. And why is it about blacks? What about Mark Kriegel or Tessitore or whoever else? No one else had any comments in the Kambosos fight. And as far as Devin Haney, Shakur, Jared Anderson, and Keyshawn Davis, why wouldn't they get love from their network when they're all undefeated fighters, one of which is undisputed? You guys let me know that in the comment section. Best in the business, and I'm out.